Hi, Jamie here. Thanks for taking a couple minutes to watch today's video. Today, I get to talk about a subject that I'm very passionate about, and that's alternative dispute resolution. But more specifically, I get to talk about why it is so important for you to have an independent attorney by your side during that process. As a qualified mediator, I am so adamant with my mediation clients and also with my litigation clients that they have an attorney there by their side. So let's get started. First things first, let's do a little ADR 101. What is alternative dispute resolution? Alternative dispute resolution is taking your matter outside of the court system and focusing on resolving your case. There are different types of alternative dispute resolution because it's really the umbrella term that covers all of them. It's important to understand the specific types of alternative dispute resolution because they have a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. I am a firm believer that everybody should consider alternative dispute resolution, but it's so important that you understand the differences. Let's first go through some common forms of alternative dispute resolution. The three most common that we see in family and divorce work are mediation, arbitration, and collaborative divorce. Today's conversation is going to focus on mediation and arbitration more specifically. The reason for that is because collaborative divorce is a very nuanced area. It involves independent attorneys who are trained to do collaborative work, and all parties involved, the litigants and the attorneys, sign an agreement at the outset that they are going to keep the case out of court. And if that changes at any point, the attorney that you hired at the beginning can't continue to be your attorney if you switch to litigation. So again, this is a very nuanced area that you really need to understand by watching videos like these and others that we've done. So let's focus in on those two types of ADR that I said we were going to talk about today. Mediation first. Mediation is a voluntary and confidential process where the litigants hire a neutral third party to act as their mediator. It can be a wonderful way to resolve your case. It's not right for everybody. Mediation doesn't work in highly contentious, conflict-driven cases, but in the right set of circumstances, it really can be beneficial for clients. It helps to move the case along. It keeps you out of the overclogged and bogged down court system, and it can be really helpful to the clients in the end. Unlike mediation, arbitration is typically binding, which mediation is not. So it's important to understand the difference. In an arbitration case, you're hiring somebody, oftentimes it's an attorney or a retired judge, to make decisions for you and your spouse when you can't come to a resolution. You are going to present testimony and evidence as part of that process. And while the evidentiary rules are relaxed, there's still requirements that you have to meet. Arbitration can limit your ability to appeal a decision in the end. So again, it's so important that you talk to an attorney who focuses on this area so you understand the very serious difference between arbitration and mediation. So now that we've talked about the two common forms of alternative dispute resolution, which are arbitration and mediation, let's discuss why you want an attorney by your side. Let's start with arbitration. This is the more obvious one for me because you have an attorney who's presenting evidence and testimony in your case, and it's important that you have somebody zealously advocating for you in that process. If you would want an attorney sitting next to you in a courtroom, you want them at the arbitration table. There's very little difference. It's a judge for hire situation. You're just taking yourself out of the courtroom setting and putting yourself into a private arbitration setting. So it's really important that you have an attorney who knows the laws, knows how to best set forth your case, because that's going to set you up for success. Now on to mediation. The question of whether you want an attorney involved in the mediation process can be a little bit more complex than when we think about it with arbitration. And here's why. A mediator is not an advocate for you, but they're there to facilitate a settlement. So it can be a little bit more confusing for clients going through mediation. Why do I need an attorney? I'm paying a mediator. But the answer is exactly the reason I just said. That mediator is there as a neutral third party. They're not there to give you information as to your rights or obligations. They're there to facilitate a settlement. It's not their job to tell you that you're getting the best deal or the worst deal. That's for your attorney to advise you on. They actually can't give you legal advice. So I mediate cases all the time. I'm forced to take off my lawyer hat and approach the case as a neutral. And it can be difficult because I am a lawyer and I advocate for my clients day in and day out. So how am I going to go through this process as a neutral? But that's in fact what I am there to do. So it's really important that you have an attorney advocating for you on the side. My mediation clients, I tell them, I'm not your attorney. I'm your mediator. I'm your facilitator. So you need an independent attorney to review an agreement or review terms that we're discussing to make sure they are in your best interest. There's something else that I'd like you to think about if you're considering mediation as an option in your divorce or family law case, and that's who you hire as the mediator. In New Jersey, mediators do not have to be attorneys. There are non-attorney mediators that are qualified through the state's training program to mediate cases. In those instances, it's really important that you think about having an independent family law attorney to represent your rights. Those mediators may be really good at facilitating a deal, but they don't know the laws the way that an attorney does, and they're not equipped to advise you as to your rights and obligations. And in fact, as I said before, mediators really can't take on that role. But it's especially important when a mediator can't say to you, well, I know what a judge may do in this situation because I have that experience as an attorney. They're not qualified to give you that advice. So it's a really important thing to think about who you're hiring in the mediation process. I really hope that through this video, I was able to convey to you that alternative dispute resolution is an option that's available to you, and it's typically a good one. But I focused today on when you should hire an attorney. One of the things that I want you to think about in hiring that attorney is who you're hiring. Is the attorney that you're hiring pro mediation, pro arbitration? Have they done training in these areas so that they know how to approach that process in the right way? That's a really important consideration when you're hiring an attorney. You should ask the questions. How much of your practice is dedicated to mediation? Do you mediate cases? Do you arbitrate cases? Are you familiar with the arbitration rules? These are things that you want to consider when you're having that initial conversation with an attorney, because it's going to save you from hiring the wrong attorney. Thanks again for watching this video. If you're considering any form of alternative dispute resolution and you find yourself asking the question, well, do I need an attorney? Don't spin by yourself. Consult with an experienced family law attorney who can help you answer that question. As I said in this video, it can be a complex analysis. It's not a black and white issue. So you really want to make sure that you have the support of an attorney who does this day in and day out. We're here to help whenever you're ready to make that call. Please don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call our office.